Paul DePodesta was hired by the Cleveland Browns January 5th, 2016. They went 1-31 his first 2 years. 1-31. This is the Moneyball guy. He's the biggest problem. People don't understand. He's the biggest problem in Cleveland. Biggest problem. John Dorsey was brought in because Jimmy Haslam just couldn't stand what was going on. So he brought John Dorsey in, and he paid immediate dividends. Guy drafted, hold up. Pat Mahomes. What the fuck is this? A new app on my fucking Pixel? I hate this fucking phone, but I want to know what the fuck it is. What the fuck? Anyway, so they brought Dorsey and he paid immediate dividends. He got fired everybody. No, I think he kept Hugh Jackson, but he drafted Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield. He turned the franchise around that first draft. Baker Mayfield was the guy. And Baker Mayfield may be the best quarterback in the National Football League at this juncture. 7 years later. So he drafted Baker Mayfield. They fired Hugh Jackson, and they went 5-3-1 down the stretch. And then they hired Freddie Kitchens. Now, this was John Dorsey's biggest mistake. And the reason it was because they only had one other candidate. It was Paul DePodesta's guy, Kevin Stefanski. See, he was still lingering around. That was his guy. They wanted to hire DePodesta, so he hired Freddie Kitchens. Well, Kitchens fizzled out. Everything fucked up with Kitchens there. Bad season, bad everything. They fired John Dorsey, right? DePodesta's in charge. He hires Kevin Stefanski in the COVID season. Well, the COVID season comes and Stefanski, he's getting the playoffs. Well, if you look at that season, he was fucking horrible. They got in the playoffs. It took a fucking last-second first down to secure against Pittsburgh's backups to secure victory to get into the playoffs. Thank God he had COVID the next week, because if he didn't, we would have lost that game to the Steelers. We ended up by destroying the Steelers. He comes back from COVID the next week. We play the Chiefs, and he gets us beat because he fucking sucks. The next year, Baker Mayfield gets injured, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is they wanted to get rid of Baker Mayfield, DePodesta, because they knew as long as Baker Mayfield was there, any success they had would have been linked to John Dorsey. They wanted everything linked to them. So they made this trade for Deshaun Watson, and everybody else wanted them. 12 other teams wanted them. And if the Cleveland Browns had a head coach that knew how to call plays, that knew anything about football, Deshaun Watson would have been a great quarterback. But Kevin Stefanski got Deshaun Watson. You didn't see that offense you seen in Houston. You seen a guy was forced into being a pocket quarterback in Stefanski's little high school offense, and he had no clue on how to run it. Because you had to read defenses. Deshaun's not the greatest intuitive at reading defenses. He was forced to an offense. When you get a guy like Deshaun Watson, you do whatever it is that he's successful in, and you roll with that offense like they did in Houston. Not Stefanski. He only knows one offense, and it's very evident that this is all this guy knows because he's been running the same fucking offense since 2020 when we got him, and this is why we can't score any points 5 years later. Every defense has seen this offense for 5 fucking straight years. Usually they shut it down by the 6th game of the season. It's already shut down first game of the season by the Cincinnati Bengals, worst defense in the league. We can't get open because they know exactly what we're doing. Stefanski is so he's horrible. He's horrible. But let me go back to Deshaun Watson. When he got suspended for 11 games the first year they had him, DePodesta said it was a wash. They knew they weren't going to be good, so they tried an experiment. People think I'm nuts, but if you sit there and think about it, it was an experiment. DePodesta was heavily involved in play calling that year. Oh, that's another thing. When you get hired by the Browns, you got to bring your fucking game plan to DePodesta and analytic nerds so they can go over it. You ain't going to hire no one like a Sean Payton. Any good coach ain't coming to Cleveland if you got to hand your fucking game plan into some fucking Ivy League analytic nerd. So, DePodesta was heavily involved in play calling that year. Trust me when I tell you, he was heavily involved in everything. We didn't have defense. Remember, we had defensive tackles. We had nobody. These clowns, these Ivy League retards thought, well, we don't need defensive tackle. It's a passing league. What's it? A waste of position. We'll just get fast linebackers. We'll cover the back end. That's what they thought. And then teams just started gushing us. 250 yards on the ground. Remember the Atlanta Falcons game? So they had to nix that plan. The next year, they started getting defensive tackles. They try to outsmart everybody in football. They think they're smarter. What he does with players, he looks at them as data points. Just like Moneyball. It's a Moneyball formula. Data points. Baker Mayfield, data points. That's what they look at. They look at the quarterbacks as data points. You can't build a football team that way. They're trying to build DePodesta is trying to build a football team the Ivy League way that's sustainable by data point players He's trying to do Moneyball, not money-wise, but that system, that same analytic formula, he's trying... I don't care about the phony. He's trying to do that same analytic formula in football, trying to outsmart football guys. And it's not fucking working. We were forced to trade our best franchise quarterback, a top 3 quarterback, maybe the best quarterback in football right now, Baker Mayfield, because Stefanski didn't like him, and they wanted their own guy so they can just distance themselves from John fucking Dorsey. And it makes me sick. It makes me fucking sick. Like I said, if John Gruden was the coach of the Browns and we had Deshaun Watson would have been great. He wouldn't have fucking sucked like he has in Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski ruined his career. And I want you to know, anybody that's in the Browns offense under Kevin Stefanski, they go down. They suck. Don't tell me Joe Flacco. Don't tell me David Njoku. They all suck. David Njoku should be a superstar wide receiver, tight end right now. He's just mired, just languishing in Stefanski's offense. Nobody gets better in this offense. Stephon Diggs had his worst career ever in Minnesota under it. Kirk Cousins had his worst year in his career under it. It's not a good offense. It's a high school offense that teams have seen for 5 straight fucking years. That's why no one gets open and we can't fucking score. Stefanski and you know what the funny thing about it is? Remember, they brought in Ken Dorsey to call plays? Well, they bring in Ken Dorsey to call plays for Deshaun Watson. When does he call plays for Deshaun Watson? He doesn't. You know when he calls plays? When Deshaun Watson gets injured and he can't play no more. Stefanski's like, okay, you can call plays, Ken. You know why? Because he didn't want Dorsey, because Dorsey would have fucking devised an offense that Watson was comfortable with, and then Watson would have flourished, and Stefanski looked like a fucking retard. That's why he wouldn't. You got to think of these things. So these guys put their own agenda above the team. And as a fan, I'm fucking tired of it. I can't root for this. I root for them. I don't even have to root for them to fail. I don't, what's it going to take? 0-18, 0-17 for Haslam to realize that these 3-14, I thought they were fired for sure. Last year, I thought it was over. I thought the nightmare Ivy League experiment was over. I thought Depot, Stefanski, and Barry were gone. What's it going to take to get these clowns out of here? I'm livid right now. I'm fucking livid. I'm livid. We can't get rid of these clowns. Stefanski, we're 0-2. We have no offense. He's not accountable. No one holds him accountable. He does what he wants. I'm tired of it. I don't want him to give a play call. I want him fired. I want Deep. And here's the thing. You got to fire Depot. The only guy that I could say you may be able to keep is Barry. That's it. You may be able to keep him. He can't draft worth shit. He's terrible. But out of all 3 of those guys, he's the least one I'm worried about. You need to bring in someone like John Gruden and a football GM. Get rid of all these analytic nerds. Get football men in Cleveland again. Kevin Stefanski's offense, we've seen it for 5 straight years. Teams know exactly what we're doing. No one gets open. Players know it. No one wants to play for this guy. If you look at the penalties weekly, it's all on Stefanski's. The defense is good. If we had somewhat of an offense, we'd be a good team right now. Stefanski's unit is horrible. Leads the league in the last 3 years of pre-snap penalties. What the fuck does that tell you? They had a quarterback competition this year for what? I don't know. They were going to start fucking Pickett or Flacco the whole time. Then Pickett's traded, so they just wasted reps on him. It doesn't make sense. They drafted a 3rd round on a midget, Tyler Gabriel. It doesn't make sense what they're doing. They're going with Joe Flacco at 40 years old. He's a turnover machine. It doesn't make sense. If you're rebuilding whatever, start these young guys, see what the fuck you got in them. But I don't want Stefanski. I can't root for this team under Stefanski. I can't do it. People, you don't understand. I stayed at 1-31. Oh, I stayed. I won't root for this team with this clown being a coach. We can't win it with him. You think Myles Garrett wanted to come back? I'll guarantee you, Myles Garrett, they told him to bring him back because there was no way they were going to end up by trading him last year after he demanded to be traded, because if they would have traded him last year, the fans would have turned on these clowns, and they knew that. So I'll guarantee you they gave him that big extension. They said, Myles, don't worry. If we're not competing next year, we'll trade you to wherever you want to go for the playoff run, and he will be gone in about 4 or 5 games. Trust me. He's got a no-trade clause. He dictates where he goes, so he will be gone on a playoff contender. Because of the Ivy League cult. If we had John Dorsey still, John Gruden, any NFL coach, Baker Mayfield would be here. We'd have all them draft picks, but we'd have everything. We'd be sitting pretty because they had to get rid of Mayfield. Like I said, they didn't like him and they wanted their own guy so they could distinguish themselves away from John Dorsey. And effectively putting their own agenda above the team. They don't care about us. They don't care about the team. They're still trying to build a formula, a system that you could win in the Ivy League way, building a football team with data points their way. And I'm tired of it. I can't take it. I cannot fucking take it. This is why I hate the Cleveland Browns now. I can't stand them. I was the most passionate football fan ever. Now when the Browns play, I don't even care. I don't care when they lose. I don't even care if they win. They're not going to win. I used to record every show possible so I can just hear any sound bite they're talking about Cleveland. Now, I don't even care. If I hear somebody talking about the Browns in the other room, I don't even care. I could care less. I don't even care about the game. I missed the game. I don't even care. They took away my passion, these Ivy League clowns. And what's it going to take for Jimmy Haslam to fucking just fire these idiots? It should have been done last year after 3-14. Because now we 2 games into the season and the season's over. We wasted a whole season because of these idiots. They wouldn't fire these idiots. So, the season's over. There's Browns fans out there that don't know what's going on. They think Kevin Stefanski's good. He needs his own guy. You can give him the Tom Brady. He'll fuck it up. The guy only knows one offense. He can't deviate. He can't fucking, anytime they throw something at him, he can't make adjustments. He can't do nothing. He's horrible. He's Kylie Bronson with the headset. He's a position coach. He's not a head coach. And frankly, I don't even think he wants to be a head coach. He just wants to call plays. He enjoys calling plays, and it makes me sick. This is fun for him. This is like playing chess for him. So, the Cleveland Browns, in a nutshell, they're fucked. And until we get rid of Paul DePodesta, you can fire Stefanski tomorrow. If Paul DePodesta, he's just going to find another Ivy League puppet to do what Kevin does, to be his yes man. Stefanski and Depot. Depot's the worst one. He's got to go, but Stefanski's got to go. They all got to go. This season's over. If they would have fired everybody last year, we could have a good football season. You had John Gruden. I'd be pumped up about this season. The defense we have, a regular football coach, we'd be 2-0 right now. Guaranteed. Maybe 1-1, whatever, but still, we wouldn't be 0-2 that we were. This guy is 3-18 his last 21 games, Stefanski. Think about it. He's 3-18 his last 21 games. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. The offense is averaging 9 points a game in his last 21 games. So, I called this out when they hired Stefanski. I knew he was not the right guy. Now people are starting to jump on the bandwagon. They're starting to realize Stefanski's horrible. They're starting to say this guy was right. I don't think people believe me when I talk about the experiment that they've been doing. No, they're doing an experiment. You think Paul DePodesta, Mr. Moneyball, ain't trying the data points? That got out there. They're looking at players as data points. When they get data points, they're trying to figure out, we're building a roster with data points. The lower data points, I'm telling you, it's a formula they're trying to do. They don't care about winning. They care about getting it right. It's like a fucking recipe. These are these Ivy League clowns. They think they're the smartest guys in the room. So, this is why I hate the Cleveland Browns. I can't stand them. It's a clown show, and I wish the fans, the only way to get Haslam to realize this is if Green Bay comes in Sunday and there are no Browns fans in the stadium, just don't go to the go to the tailgate, but don't go in the stadium. Because you go in the stadium, Jimmy Haslam sees that, he's making money. And this clown wants to move to Brook Park. Why give him the luxury of moving to Brook Park when you put out a shitty-ass product with the worst coach in football, the worst offense in football, and you don't do a damn thing about it? I'm tired of it. So, that's my take on the Cleveland Browns. They got to fire everybody. I wish they would have done it last year, 3-14. I thought it was a done issue. As soon as they said they weren't firing everybody, I said, this season's already a wash, and it already is. 2 games. We won't win 2 games if we keep this coaching staff. If we keep Stefanski, DePodesta, and Berry, we won't win 2 games. We won't. It's embarrassing. It really is. It's a travesty. So that's my take on the Cleveland Clowns. And there's nothing I can do about it because I've said everything I need to say, and Jimmy Haslam's just a dumbass.